This is LBC with Maajid Nawaz. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Let's go back to the calls. 0345 6060 973. And Gareth is speaking to us from Biggin Hill. Welcome, Gareth.
Hi there, hi. Can I just say to start off with, it just needs restating, this isn't a left or right issue.
Yeah, precisely.
And my position is that I've helped Steve Bray with the protest against Brexit outside Parliament now for some years. So you and Steve Bray are the Stop Brexit protesters outside Parliament Square? The ones we've all seen, that standing there for months and months, wind, rain or shine. Exactly.
Welcome. In fact, look, we've got Steve Bray on the line as well. Let's get both of you on to talk to us. Welcome as well, Steve, and Gareth, as you've just heard, is with us too. Did you both just randomly call in?
Yes, sort of.
Yeah. Sort of. All right. Well, you're both on air now. Tell us what you think. Gareth, you can start.
Well, one thing I'd like to say is that, okay, the thing about Brexit and protest is that you might say that's over and done with. But the thing is, that was 16 million people. You can say 17 million people won their way. Fine, they did. We're now Brexit. Fine.
Yeah.
But the 16 million is a lot of dissent. That's a lot of dissent.
Absolutely.
And we have made a consistent and concerted and continuous effort protesting outside Parliament now, 4 years, making the counter-argument.
Did you have to, sorry to interrupt you, but did you I imagine you had to disband when the lockdown kicks in?
Oh, yeah, no, we haven't. Yeah, we've not been there during lockdown. No, of course not. It's a virus.
Yeah.
But we are looking forward, I think it's fair to say, to getting out there and continuing it. It's not going away. We haven't stopped. And there's two things I'd say about that. Number one, you can say that that's all over, but I think it's fair to say, we think that it isn't panning out good. So we need to make that consistent counter-argument just to maintain the idea that there was always a very large, it was smaller than the people who won, I get that, but a large constituency who thought it was a bad idea. That presence needs to be maintained. Because one thing I will tell you is that time and time again, and Steve will remember one incident, we've had people like cameramen saying things to us like, get out of our way, we're doing our job and everything. At which point we have to say to them, look, you're here outside Westminster, you're filming reports about what's going on here. You've got us protesting our bit here. You've got Black Lives Matter over there. You've got the XR people over there. And you're trying to edit us out of the reality of what is happening outside Westminster. Sometimes outside Westminster, you wouldn't believe how much protest is going on. And we all, well, not anymore. We're not that naive anymore. But for a long time, we think, this is all going to be over the news today. And it isn't.
Well, Gareth, let me bring in Steve here. And what you've said, Gareth, I think it's still important, and I agree with you that I've been of the view that we have to move on, and I've been advocating that what does our post-Brexit vision look like? But the protests themselves, even if you concede, as you've just done, that, okay, we didn't win Brexit, but the protests themselves still have value. And one of the values they have is that there are a whole bunch of related issues, such as what trade deals we strike next, what kind of country you want to live in, that Remain voters need to be a part of that debate still, and part of being in part of that debate is protesting. So if I can bring Steve in, who's the other, your fellow protester on the Stop Brexit outside Parliament Square. Steve, when you hear that Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, wants to restrict the protest rights after the lockdown's ended, how does that make you feel?
Well, look, I'm angry because at the end of the day, government is elected to serve the people. And this government now, I mean, we've got Brexit, we've had COVID. This government has failed abysmally on both. And people are unhappy. And for a government that fails to tell you you cannot protest against them is a massive attack on democracy.
Do you think she will, the Home Secretary will, do you think the Home Secretary will succeed in keeping some of these restrictions in place?
No, you've just got to look at other countries where they try and ban protest. I mean, it's going on in Belarus at the moment. Different story, I know, but and despite the lockdowns, they're continuing to protest. But we're not. We're waiting. So, 23rd of June, I've called on all groups basically peaceful protest up and down the country. I mean, enough is enough. This government has failed us all, failed the United Kingdom.
Well, I think, Steve, people on the, and I'm aware that both of you are stop Brexit protesters, but I want to, forgive me, because you're both on air, I want to take this opportunity, because my listeners who are of the Brexit view know that I voted Remain. I want to take this opportunity to reassure everybody that what you're saying applies for them too, because Brexit protesters, even if they are, and Mr. Farage has now become critical of lockdown, and it's where I agree with him, by the way, and he's become critical of China, where I pretty much took the lead on that in a certain sense with my own hunger strike protest, my silent protest outside the Chinese embassy. It applies to everybody. So even if you're Brexit listeners of mine, understand that what Gareth and Steve Bray are saying is also in your defence and your right to protest with whatever agitates or animates you guys. And it could be anti-lockdown views, it could be, and again, obviously after the restrictions are eased, or it could be the China agenda, or it could even be pro-Brexit protest to challenge Gareth and Steve. We all want everyone to have the right to do so.
I would reiterate peaceful protest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peaceful protest, absolutely. And also, it is to remember that peaceful protest doesn't mean convenient protest. I mean, Steve gets his placards in the camera. I'm known for sort of like doing a bit of shouting and singing. And if those things are going on, you're attracting attention to your agenda. It's not that you get the impression Priti Patel wants us all to be quiet and unnoticed, and she'd be quite happy for us to protest as long as no one saw us. You see, protest must be seen. That is what it is. You must attract attention to yourself.
Indeed.
And you do occasion thereby possibly some inconvenience. Now, that is part of it. The idea that you would stop protest because some people find it inconvenient is nonsense.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we've got to move on. But I think it was a really important topic and really well done. Thank you to all of my callers on this topic. And thank you to Liberty for that conversation we had there. It's really important.